of the Pultec EQ. Well, the plugins. That is because I can't afford a real one. It's a studio equalizer from the 1960s, I think. And it doesn't work like an equalizer we know nowadays with the sliders, and you just create a graph and it sounds like the graph you see on the pedal or on the software. It has knobs, and you twist the knobs and you just twist them until it sounds good. You can't do anything wrong with it. And I use the Pultec plugins from Universal Audio on basically everything. So when I heard that Spaceman was coming out with an EQ pedal based on the Pultec EQ, I was over the moon. And when I received it, I plugged it in and it sounds amazing. And it's a subtle thing, you know, don't expect huge changes because that is not what an EQ does. Of course, you can get really drastic with it and boost bass or boost treble or cut bass or whatever. But it's always tasty and it's always good, no matter where you set the knobs. And I think I've said that before many times. I think that's the sign of a good piece of equipment. No matter where you set the knob, you will have a good sound. It may not be your taste, but it will not sound crappy. So that is what the Spaceman Equinox does. And yeah, it's big for just an EQ. But the sound is amazing. It sounds so good. I really love running this into an effects loop. So it's at the very end of a signal chain. And in the effects loop of the Boss Tube amp expander, it's even after the amp. So it almost functions like a real studio EQ. You can use this on guitar, you can use this on bass, you can use it for keys, for whatever. You can plug into it, use it with it, and it'll be amazing. So, yeah, we're gonna just go over the controls a bit. I'm gonna play a bit with drive pedals right now. It's after my pedal board, so it's the last in the chain of pedals. So it kind of like acts as a master EQ if you're not putting it in an effects loop or using it in a studio situation. Clean tones. This is what it sounds like. Clean. Okay, so just the amp, clean. Beautiful silk tone amp. Sounds really good. Now with the Equinox. Okay, so the level is up a bit, so that's not fair. It's like running a compressor pedal always on, but without the compression. So you get the, it's hard to describe. It's I kind of hear more of everything. The guitar is more woody as well. It's not adding any gain. Just boosting certain. And the EQ, the original EQ it's based on, is famous for just running a signal through it without adjusting anything, and it'll lively it up anyway. All right, let's go down to controls, because this, you have to get used to it a little bit. There is a, let's start at lows actually. There is a low cut and low boost. I'm just gonna cut all the frequencies. So low cut and low boost. You can cut and boost the frequencies of the low range simultaneously, which makes up for really unique EQ curves. So right now, I can say I want to boost a little bit of low frequencies. Now there is a control here. It's a rotary switch which lets you select the center of the EQ band for the low frequencies. So it's the center of where it's boosting or cutting those signals. So right now it's at 150 Hertz. Let's set it to, let's set 30. So now it's boosting the lowest of lows. And at 150, that's more in the guitar range, so it gets, the sound gets fuller. A little more full even. Now that's too much, so I want to cut it a little bit, and I introduce the low cut. Okay, but it's missing a little sparkle, and now I simply go to high boost and introduce a little bit of the highs. Now this rotary switch lets you select which part of the curve it's boosting. So right now it's at 2K, you can set it at 1K, which is kind of like mids, upper mids, 3K and 4K, which are the super turbo highs. So now I'm boosting those frequencies and I need to dial back on the level a bit. Here is bandwidth, and that selects the Q, so the range of high boost. So if you close it, there's a low Q number or high Q number, which is, well, it's narrower. So it's, if you close it like this, it will be just boosting a very little amount of the entire curve. If you open it up, it'll be wider and it'll be boosting that part of the curve. So that sounds like this. So let's set it to 3K, high boost at 3 o'clock, bandwidth closed. See, it gets more of the frequencies around that center point. So there's a lot of control in the high frequencies, and then you can say I want to do a high cut. So let's say there's a nasty mid hump and I set it to 1.5K and I want to cut there. So it's a little more scooped. Then 3K, a little boost, and you get... Increase the level a bit because it's pretty. Now that's a beautiful clean tone. And then with the drive pedal, torpedo Dane. Without. Makes it all come alive just a little more. Now you could run this in front of your pedal board as well, in front of the drive pedals, but it gets, well, like with running any EQ in front of a drive pedal, it starts limiting really fast, and it gets really gainy, and I don't really like it, but I will show it anyway, so you get an idea of what that sounds like, because it is a cool sound, but a little less usable. And did I mention that at the end of the video I'm going to put it in the effects loop, so we're going to use it as a studio EQ almost. Okay, gonna put it in front of the pedals and then I'll be right back. All right, with the Dane. Boost. You know, so it works, but it starts reacting in a different way, which is not for me, but it could be for you. So experiment with the positions you're going to put this in, because there's a world of tones to be found here. Right now I'm running the Equinox in the effects loop of the Boss Tube Amp Expander. That effects loop is after the amp, just before the cab sim, so it is the closest I can get to using it as an outboard studio equalizer. So this is what the amp sounds like. I'm going straight into the amp. In this position it's super responsive. Let's roll back on the level a bit. It just spices it up, and it does such a good job at it. Yeah, this is an amazing, amazing, amazing pedal. And those Pultec EQs are so loved. So I'm amazed that it didn't happen sooner. But to be honest, I didn't even think of it. And Spaceman delivered really something special yet again. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. If you can think of any other uses for it, let me know as well. I would love to hear those thoughts. And And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel, because that would help me a lot. And if you want to score some of my gem tracks, you can find those on my Patreon page. See you next time. Bye.